Well, hey there, everybody. Sorry for the delay, but here we are again with another review. Now, as some of you may know, those of you that are interested in the Western Rite tradition of the Orthodox Church and the prayers used therein, there are several prayer books on the market that some may say are better than others. They're all pretty comparable around about, but one of the most popular ones was the St. Ambrose prayer book from Lancelot Andrews Press. Now, there was only one edition printed. It was edited by Father John Guy Winfrey of blessed memory, and it has not received a second printing or a revision. So, with that off the market, the search went out, in my case, for something comparable, something that I could suggest to our viewers that would kind of hold the same water. And so what we've found is the St. Gregory prayer book, published by St. Gregory Orthodox Church in Silver Springs, Maryland. It's a Western Rite church in the Antiochian Archdiocese. And I've got to say, I'm duly impressed with this, and I'm looking forward to topping down and showing you all the goodness inside. Let's do it. Welcome back, everyone, to Orthodox Review, the most uneducated educational program here on the internet today. I'm your host, the guy with one and a half thumbs, and I'm so very, very pleased to have you back with us on the show today. Sorry for the delay, life gets in the way. Let's get down to brass tacks. If you like the content we produce here and you're looking to support the show in some way, we do have Patreon tiers. We've got a PayPal tip jar, and you can hit that super thanks down in the down there for a one-time donation. We also have channel memberships, and as often as we can, we try to make sure that content is released early for those that support the show. But more importantly than any of that, please continue to keep us in your prayers. We definitely need them. Now, without any further ado, here we are with the St. Gregory prayer book from St. Gregory Orthodox Church in Silver Springs, Maryland. Originally published in 2016, it's about 275 pages long, has a ribbon marker, a tough as nails binding, cloth bound, and sits about 3 by 5 inches. So, though the dimensions are that of maybe a pocket prayer book, its thickness, it would be rather uncomfortable to stiffen your back pocket of your pants, but in a small bag or purse, it's the way to go. Now, as to a little more about it, its contents. And actually, before I get to the contents, I do want to point out the binding on this. As a lot of my frequent viewers know, I am a sucker for a solid binding, whether it's Smythe sewn or otherwise. And even in the first page here, you can see that stitching is solid. And there's actually some glue residue through the stitching holes. You'll also notice that the cloth reinforcement comes through on the first page. Now, usually this reinforcement would be attached underneath the cover binding. This is kind of a double-edged sword, because if I wanted to get this book rebound, which I might do with, say, a soft leather cover, this will make it a lot easier, because this actually travels through the outer rim of the binding and then comes in under here, which I'm wondering if you can see this on camera, because I can see it with my naked eye, but I don't think it's going to focus. I gotta get a better camera. Anyway, so rebinding this thing would actually be a lot easier than usual. So that's pretty cool. Right away, we see the table of contents here, and you can pause the video, take a look at it. I'm not going to read through them all, but I will point out that since we're looking for something to replace our beloved St. Ambrose prayer book, it's worth noting what you will not find in this. It does not contain the prayers for spiritual communion, the 6 penitential psalms, which I am a huge fan of, and I know a lot of people are, both in the East and the West. You don't have anything pertaining to the rosary or devotions to anything outside of the Mother of God. and no novenas or anything. So what we're seeing removed here are some of the later innovations of the post-schismatic West that have been reintegrated into the Orthodox tradition. Um, that being said, if you're in the Western Rite already, you know these things. If you're looking into the Western Rite and you're looking for a prayer book to learn from, this is still a good one, even though it does not contain those little bits. Now, of course, in the introduction to the St. Ambrose prayer book, Father John of blessed memory did a really good job of explaining to the reader how he went about making sure that the text was fully orthodox, even in reinterpreting and editing those bits that came from the post-schismatic West. So there's that. Now, we do have a small board here that does name check quite a few things. And the one thing that is included here is the morning and evening prayer and the confessional materials from Little Red, the standard Antiochian Orthodox prayer book, because those are the norm in the Antiochian Archdiocese. East or West doesn't matter. And in fact, if we look at the table of contents here, they are marked as Eastern Rite. So let's jump over to the preparation for confession on page 45 really quick. I think it's worth noting that we're constantly on the show lately been talking about uh, self-examination for confession. And so this contains the same from Little Red, which is a brief examination by way of the Ten Commandments. Now, going back to the beginning, and as you can see, as I'm paging through this, I haven't used this book a great deal, so it's really not properly broken in yet, although you can see some splaying of the pages. The binding, the way it was stitched between the number of pages, they were pretty conservative about, and so that makes for a very, very tight binding. In fact, the center of the first section should be somewhere around here, around the page 10 mark-ish. But so yeah, so you find anytime you find a page like this, it's where the binding is glued in addition to being sewn to keep it from separating. So it'll hold up for quite some time. The morning and evening prayers are based along the parochial rule that you would find maybe in some Anglican and Old Rite Roman churches. These are similar to what you find in the St. Ambrose prayer book and also in the Antiochian service book for the Western Rite. We also have some clip art here, which in the first version of this video I tried to do, I did make a point of saying that if one were so inclined to say, I don't know, get an Orthodox tattoo, there's some great Orthodox clip art out there that would make for some great tattoo flash. But at any rate, so you have all the usual prayers from the Western Rite. There is nothing specific about this book that really sets it apart from the St. Ambrose book, but the prayers for various occasions and the table of Psalms and Canticles I find to be nigh indispensable. So let's go to 248. Oh, look, awesome flash art of the resurrection. So you have these, and these are prayers that for maybe someone that converted from Catholicism, especially pre-Vatican II, might recognize a lot of these prayers, and it's really cool to see them in here, especially if you're super on the go and or you're struggling to stand and say a lengthy prayer rule. Shooting one of these out is always a good idea. You also have the complete St. Patrick's breastplate, which in a lot of books they usually truncate that just for brevity's sake, but it's nice to see the whole thing here. And then we get to prayers throughout the day. You have some cool harvest prayers, and a lot of these are actually taken from the old Book of Common Prayer, the 16. Oh, come on, Raph. You know the year. You've got a copy. Okay, one of the original Book of Common Prayer, and being an agricultural culture still at that point, so harvest time prayers, that sort of thing, pretty cool. And then back at the very, 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 we have something that a lot of prayer books, I think, should have. And it's a table of where you can find specific psalms, canticles, and other things that one might be looking for in their prayer book at any given time. And I know it's not a whole lot. It's one of those little details that I appreciate personally, because sometimes I'm like, oh yeah, I remember yeah, this particular prayer is in this book, or this particular psalm is here. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? I've got a table right here, so I know where to find it. And again, the sewing, solid. I'm pleased to see that the ribbon marker is sewn and glued into the binding. So I don't know if the camera's doing it justice, but this is a beautiful brown color. What I would like to call a Franciscan brown. It's just a pleasant, earthy brown that it's easy on the eyes. But anyway, so if you're in the market for a Western Rite prayer book, the link for this book, of course, will be below, as it always is. This would be my recommendation. Um, if you're looking for something compact you can carry around with you for daily use, this would be the one that I'm saying go to. All right, so there you go. Short, sweet, and simple. Not much to it, but still an amazing little book, and I love having it in my collection. And I look forward to hopefully maybe one day seeing the second edition of the St. Ambrose. But until that time, we have the St. Gregory book. This was prepared anonymously by people at that church. And it just is another example of the amazing talent and links that the laity and clergy will go to in their own parish to make sure that the faithful are fed spiritual food through prayer. All right, that's it. Have a nice day, y'all. On behalf of Spooky Cat, her mom, and myself, please continue to pray for us. We're praying for you. And don't forget to go to church, say your prayers, and remember God. God bless.